All right, let's jump right in. If you've ever worked at a small or mid-sized agency, you know there's this one massive challenge that always comes up. How in the world you scale up without your quality taking a nosedive? Well, today, we're going to break down a framework that's built to fix that exact problem.
And this quote, man, this just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The agency doesn't scale, stress does. It's so true. When you try to grow, it's not always the business that gets bigger, it's the stress on your senior people. It's a feeling that I'm sure a lot of agency leaders out there know way too well.
Okay, so before we can even talk about a solution, we have to figure out what the real problem is. And it's usually this kind of hidden friction point. It's not about a lack of good ideas or people not working hard enough. No, it's something buried deep inside the agency's actual workflow.
Now, if you were to draw it out on a whiteboard, the agency structure seems totally logical, right? You've got your junior teams, and their job is to execute. Then you've got your senior teams, and their job is to do the big picture thinking. Simple, effective, it should scale perfectly. At least, that's the theory.
But we all know reality is a lot messier. What really happens is your senior people become editors, reviewers, and full-time firefighters. They get completely bogged down in these endless review loops, and their time, their bandwidth, becomes the single biggest bottleneck holding the agency back. And what's the result? Speed just plummets, and the quality of work starts getting really inconsistent.
All right, so that's the problem. Now let's talk about the fix. We're going to look at a totally new approach, a framework that we're seeing in tools like Vindo, which is designed to just break that cycle. It's all about changing the fundamental way work gets done.
And this is super important. This isn't just about yelling at junior folks to write faster. That never works. This is about changing the entire workflow to bake in that senior level thinking right from the very start. The whole goal is to produce structured, high-quality work with way fewer back and forths, freeing up those seniors to actually focus on growth. So how does this actually work? Well, it breaks down into a pretty clear three-step process. First, you embed all that senior level thinking, SEO, geo, strategy, right into the workflow from the get-go. Step 2, because it's so structured, execution becomes way faster. You're replacing all those messy drafts with one controlled process. And third, you can actually customize these workflows for each client, so you get consistency without being super rigid.
Okay, let's make this concrete. Let's look at a core service for pretty much any agency, SEO. This is an area where that senior bottleneck can be absolutely brutal.
So here's the huge shift, the game changer really. Seniors stop being rewriters. When the junior team's output is structured correctly right from the beginning, seniors are just approving, not fixing. And when that happens, those delivery timelines, they shrink, like dramatically.
And that one change has all these awesome downstream effects. Suddenly, you're getting high-quality blogs that are actually aligned with search intent, and you're getting them faster. On-page SEO isn't an afterthought. It's baked right into the process. The quality is consistent, no matter who's working on which client. And maybe the best part, you can actually scale up your content retainers without having to immediately go out and hire another senior person.
All right, so that's traditional SEO. But what about the next frontier? I'm talking about AI-driven search, or what's being called generative engine optimization, GEO. You know, how do you get your clients to actually show up in those AI answers?
This is the question that clients are starting to ask more and more. How do we show up in ChatGPT? And honestly, most agencies are still kind of shrugging their shoulders. So the key here is to have a real answer, to move away from just guesswork and provide a systematic workflow that gives them an actual, actionable strategy.
So how does it work? Well, it's all about analyzing and optimizing pages at a granular level to make them answer-ready. That just means they're structured in a way that AI models can easily grab and use. And the really cool part is that your junior staff can execute this confidently without needing, a doctorate in AI search theory. For the agency, this is huge. It lets you create a brand new, future-proof service you can upsell to all your SEO clients. Okay, so you've implemented these new workflows for SEO, you're tackling geo. What does it all add up to? Let's quantify it. What are the real bottom-line outcomes for the agency?
You can literally measure the impact across every critical resource you have. Time, seniors get hours back every single week. Cost, you don't have to hire those super expensive specialists as early on. Energy, so much less friction, fewer escalations, less rewriting. And then there's what you gain, speed, with faster client turnarounds. Confidence, because junior output now feels senior approved from the start. And the big one, consistency. a repeatable, high-quality delivery across your entire client portfolio.
And I think this quote just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. It's not about replacing your team. It's about raising the floor of your entire agency. It's about elevation, not elimination. You're making everyone more effective, which makes the whole agency just better.
And what's really interesting is that this kind of big operational upgrade is becoming super accessible. We're not talking about some massive six-figure software investment. The idea behind solutions like this seems to be about lowering that barrier to entry so agencies can try it out and see the value for themselves without a huge risk.
So really, this whole deep dive leaves us with one final, and I think really important question to ask ourselves. It's not about the monthly cost of a tool. It's about the hidden, ongoing cost of that senior bottleneck you might have right now. The cost in lost time, in slowed growth, and just in rising stress levels. What is that really costing your agency?